Hello and welcome to Audio Source Egypt. Today we're going to be talking about Maschine, which is a very powerful production tool. It's also a very powerful tool for you to integrate in your live DJ setup. Maschine is also a MIDI controller that can control various software such as Ableton, Tractor, and your VSTs. We're going to be talking about Machine's connectivity, the interface, how to use it in production, how to use it in a live performance, how to create your own loops, as well as its very powerful sampling section. Maschine is bus powered so that it connects to your computer via USB. When I plug it out, Maschine turns off, and when we plug it back in, it flashes very nicely. Very attractive piece of equipment that connects to your computer and controls the software that comes with Maschine. You also have a MIDI in and MIDI out section to receive information if you have an external source controlling the main source of tempo or sending information to Maschine, and MIDI out to control other pieces of hardware and equipment or software. So let's look at the interface of Maschine. We basically have a few sections here. Your master section with your volume, swing, and tempo settings, your groups, which we'll talk about, your transport section, your pads for creating your sounds, and 8 knobs here to control various parameters, and some 8 buttons at the top here to toggle through your various parameters as well. Let's look at Maschine as a MIDI controller very quickly. If we push play, we have a little loop that's running right now. And the nice thing about Maschine is if you push shift down here and control, the interface changes, and this means you're in MIDI control mode. You can control Ableton, you can control Tractor while your production is still running if you're in a live DJ setup. If I push shift and control, I'm out of MIDI mode and back with more hands-on control, controlling the sounds that I'm working with. Over here we have step sequencing, which allows you to program your sounds live while your loop is running. Browse mode, where you're going through your sounds. Maschine comes with over 6 gigabytes of sounds and instruments. This puts you in sampling mode, where you get to sample your own sounds and chop them up and slice them. And your left-right buttons down here to toggle through the different parameters that you're controlling. Down here in the master section, you have this knob, which is controlling the main volume of your track. Down and back up. Swing, so you can give your sound a bit more groove. You can control your tempo, slow your track down and speed it back up. As well as the ability to control volume on various specific sounds. We have a note repeat section here, which allows you to create snare rolls or kick rolls, hi-hat rolls. You can basically note repeat any sound you want, and we'll be looking at that in a second. Down here, the groups, you have 8 groups, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. Each one lights up in a different color, which is also very convenient. And within these groups, you're able to program and produce and sequence your own original sounds. Down here, we have the transport section with basic functions like play, record, erase certain sounds, and a shift button that gives you more commands to undo, send things an octave higher, a semitone higher, clear your sequencer, quantize by 50%. You can nudge sounds to the left or to the right, redo, split. So shift is also a very powerful button in the transport section. And restart, which is nice sometimes if you're using it for a live performance. And again, a left and right button to allow you to toggle through certain parameters that you're working with. And over here we have 16 pads. These pads have different functionality. They're touch sensitive, so depending on how hard or how soft you hit them, or even with your note repeat, how hard you hold down or how soft you're touching the pad will affect the velocity and volume of the sound. The nice thing about the 16 pads is they're a very integral part in how you're producing. So if you're in step mode, as we talked about earlier, you're able to just punch in your snares, in and out. Give it a snare roll. Or back in control mode, where you're programming your sounds and exploring the different sounds through the individual pads. Okay, so first let's look at how we're loading our sounds. I already have some sounds loaded in groups A, B, and C, and in some of their respective pads. So we're going to select group E. I go up to the browse button, which is going to allow me to browse the different sounds, drums, choir sounds, guitar sounds, percussion sounds, and I basically select, sample, drums, the type of drum I want, clap, cymbal, hi-hat, kick, we'll start with a kick, and the subtypes. So it really gives you very specific control, like analog, digital kicks, human kicks, sub kicks, vinyl, and on and on and on. I'm going to go ahead and clear subtype, so I have all my kicks here on the right side of the screen, and I'm going to select an 808. Now that that's loaded, I can hit the pad and I hear my sound. I can also pre-hear by pushing the pre-hear button, and as I scroll down, I can hear the different kinds of kicks before I load them. I'm going to go ahead and turn off pre-hear. We already have a nice 808 here. And the next thing I'm going to do is load a snare. So again, I'm still in browse mode. And here in the type, I'm looking for snare, and it's alphabetically organized, so that's convenient. Subtype, I'll go with an analog kick and an 808 as well. So now that's loaded in the second pad. And to do so, I have to make sure that the pad I want to load a sound in is selected, and it also lights up, so that's also very convenient. So now we have our 808 snare and an 808 kick. To start producing a beat, you can do this in several ways, like we said. I can go into step sequencer mode, push play. I'm going to go ahead and mute the first loop. And so now E is lit up, or I can just solo E. Now my step sequencer is running, and I can just go ahead and punch in my kicks, and I have my 4 to the floor kick sound. I come out of step sequencer mode and go back into control, select my snare, go back into step sequencer, and I have my snare sounds. And then I can go ahead and play with different combinations. So if I want to add a hi-hat, and instead of pushing control and step all the time, I can also hold select down here, and I can see the different pads light up on the screen, and I just go ahead and push the new pad that I want to program. And we'll just very quickly throw in a hi-hat in here by selecting hi-hat in the types. I'll take a closed hi-hat and an 808 as well, load it, and basic house beat. Maschine is also very nice because you can program the beats with your hands if you prefer more of a hands-on approach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear what we've just created by pushing Shift and Clear on the pad, and I have a clean slate. And all I have to do is push record. I shift and record arms of my metronome, and then I can program it with my own hands by playing the beat. And then of course it might be a little bit off, and I push Shift and quantize, and it puts everything back in place. Shift and clear again, and you have a clean slate one more time. So let's go back to the loop that we were running when we first started the video. I've unmuted groups A and B by pushing mute in A and B. So in group B, I have a really nice bass sound and a keyboard running. And the nice thing about Maschine is that the 16 pads function as a keyboard. For those of you who are used to more of a traditional keyboard layout, it's the same thing. Every pad up or down is a semitone, every 2 pads up is a full tone, and so on. To get into pad mode, keyboard mode, I push pad mode and keyboard, and it stays in keyboard mode. So it's really nice because you can play single notes and solo over some chords if you want, or play the chords as you would on a keyboard. And you would record it the exact same way that we did with your beat, live or through a sequencer or through the pad mode. Finally, Maschine is a very powerful sampling tool. So what we've done here is we've loaded a sample of Beastie Boys Intergalactic, and we're just going to hear it once. Loaded it into the pad the way you do with the drums by dragging from any source or folder or through Maschine software itself. And so this is the sample. And the nice thing about this is you can use the sample as it is, time stretch it, warp it, and do all kinds of things to it, even add effects, the same way you could do with your other sounds. And I'm just going to play with the parameters a little. Freeze. And you can do this with all your sounds. So I go into sampling mode, and I can see my sample on the software as well as on the screen here. And I can edit the sample and make it shorter or longer. I can control where I want to start the sample from. So instead of intergalactic where it starts at planetary now. I can choose the end. I can make it as long, as short as I want. Again, we use the same method to take out this chunk from the entire song. So I'm going to keep it as it is, and I'm going to go into slicing. Up here where we're in edit, the button's lit up. Next to it, there's slice. And what it's done automatically by itself is send the sample to the different pads. It sent it to 16 slices, so every slice is in every pad. And this is 16 slices. I can control it and make it 32, so it's smaller pieces. I can go for longer slices, which is 8 here in this case. Can go down to 4 and so on. So I'm going to go with 16 slices so that I can play with all my pads. And once I have that, I click apply, and it sends it to my sequencer, and I'm in pad mode automatically. And I can play the pads. Now it's playing it automatically by itself. And if I wanted to, I would clear the entire sequence and rearrange the sample to make it sound the way I want it. More like the song, less like the song. And while that's running, I can continue playing with different effects, delay, and so on. You can integrate Maschine into your DJ setup. So if you're using Traktor, you can sync it up so it automatically syncs with Traktor. Add samples on the fly. You can rearrange your loops and give your tracks more support. There's also an option where you can export your loops from Maschine into Traktor if you're using an F1. So the possibilities are endless, and it's basically how you use it. Maschine on its own, we're just going to jam a little bit here with some of the sounds we've created, is also a powerful live performance tool. I can do things like select group A, take out the kick for some downtime, take out my bass, just have the keyboard running, go back to group A, bring the kick back in as a solo, take it off solo and bring everything back in. And with your effects, as you saw with the reverb and delay and tons of other effects, you can create really interesting build-ups and just your own personal dynamic sound, and that's the beauty of Maschine. This Maschine's cover is, it's called Dragon Red, and the nice thing about this is that you can change it and choose from a variety of colors for your own custom look. Maschine also comes in micro, and the micro Maschine is not to be underestimated because it does all the exact same things that the Maschine we've just looked at does. It's more portable, slightly more affordable. So both options are available, and both options are equally powerful. Well, thank you for watching this presentation about Maschine. I hope you enjoyed it. That's basically it for the basics. When you buy Maschine from audiosourceegypt.com, you're going to discover on your own that the possibilities are endless. Thank you for watching.